Welcome to Family Law Talk, presented by Kirk Stange of Stange Law Firm, PC. Stange Law Firm is a family law firm in the St. Louis metro area with offices in Missouri and Illinois. Now, here's your host, Kirk Stange.
Welcome to Family Law Talk. My name is Kirk Stange, and I am one of the managing partners of Stange Law Firm, which is a family law firm with multiple offices in the St. Louis metro area. We have offices in Missouri, and we have offices in Illinois. Well, welcome today to Family Law Talk with Stange Law Firm. Today we have a very interesting topic. The topic is Illinois, new right of first refusal law. It's a very interesting topic. It deals with a new statute that went into effect January 14th, 2014 in the state of Illinois, dealing with rights of first refusal, which is an issue that comes up in a lot of custody cases. So we're going to get to that topic here in a minute. And I'll just state this as well. The topic itself is based on an article on our webpage, stangelawfirm.com. If you click the Articles tab, you'll find a link to the article titled New Illinois Law Allows Judges to Order a Right of First Refusal for Parents Who Share Joint Custody. So as a follow-up to the episode here today, you can go to stangelawfirm.com and read that article. It's a very interesting article, but we'll get to the topic here in just a second in more detail. But before we do that, I'll state, as I always do, that the choice of a lawyer is an important decision that should not be based solely upon advertisements, and that the information you obtain today in this episode is general in nature and it may not apply to specific factual or legal circumstance. Therefore, if you need legal advice, you should definitely consult an attorney who's licensed to practice law in your specific jurisdiction. All right, so now let's talk about the topic itself, which deals with the new right of first refusal law in the state of Illinois. This law went into effect January 14th, 2014, as I said. It's an interesting topic and one that, I think is important to a lot of folks out there in the state of Illinois. And so let's talk about this. Obviously, custody cases are big deals, and in custody cases, both parents are typically looking to get as much time as they can with their kids. And what oftentimes happens is, a custody schedule gets put into place, and what the custody schedule will state is what the mom's time is with the children, and then on the flip end, what the dad's time with the children is. And these custody schedules, often referred to as a parenting order or a parenting plan, will be specific about the dates and the times, and it'll go into the holidays and the summertime and explain who gets custody when. But this big issue that oftentimes comes up is, what if it's mom's custody time, for example? Let's say mom's going to be away for a couple of days, could be a business trip. It could be, it could be basically anything. It could be a business trip. It could be that she's out of town on something personal. But in any regard, let's say it's mom's custody time on paper, but yet she's not able to spend the time with the kids. And so the question is who gets the kids if mom can't have them? And without a right of first refusal in a parenting plan, mom could typically do what she wanted to do. So theoretically, she could offer the kids a dad, but on the other hand, maybe she could offer the kids to her parents, so the grandparents or some other family member or some other friend. Sometimes you're talking about a step-parent. And then what ends up happening is, versus the dad getting to spend the time with the kids when mom can't, you've got other third parties that are doing it. And so here comes this idea of a right of first refusal, which is something that I think in the family law sphere has been around for a long time. And basically what rights of first refusal state is that if it's mom's time, for example, and mom's going to be unable to be with the kids for whatever reason, could be business reason, could be personal reason, you name it, that versus offering the kids to a third party to have them, that mom should offer the kids to the dad first, and that if dad can take the kids, then dad gets them. If he can't take the kids, then mom would have the ability to offer the kids to a different third party out there, but that mom would have to come to the dad in the case first. And that's kind of the premise of a right of first refusal. So they've been around for a long time. In Missouri we do them a fair amount, and they've been around for a long time, and I've done them in lots of cases. But the interesting thing in the state of Illinois is I actually did this statute that went into effect, like I said, January 14th, 2014, which actually codified the ability of a judge to grant a right of first refusal to parents in custody cases. And so, that's the interesting thing here. The statute itself which you could Google and read, is 750 ILCS 5/602.3. And this statute, what it does is it gives judges discretion in joint custody cases, so it references specifically joint custody cases, for judges to put a right of first refusal in for the other parent to have access to the kids before any third party. So it's good in a lot of ways. It does give judges in Illinois now the ability to do this by statute. I think sometimes maybe this happened even without the statute. But by statute in Illinois, judges have the ability to do this now. If they think it's in the best interest of the children to do it. The only thing with this statute itself is it's not mandatory, so it doesn't say a judge has to do it. It just says the judge can if they think it's in the best interest of the child in the case. And then the statute goes on further to talk about things that should be referenced in any order regarding a right of first refusal. Like, for example, number 1 in the statute states that a right of first refusal clause should state the length and kind of child care requirements invoking the right of first refusal. So, you have to set a specific time frame, for example. So let's say, theoretically you could put in there that, if mom is not able to be with the kids overnight, then she would offer the kids to dad. So you could invoke it to where it's overnight. On the other hand, I've seen rights of first refusals that'll be 4 or 6 hours, for example. So let's say mom will be away from the kids for 4 hours or 6 hours, versus having the kids even go to a babysitter for the evening. She should first offer the kids to the other parent. So the Illinois statute talks about referencing the length and kind of child requirements invoking the right of first refusal. So that's pretty important key language in terms of rights of first refusal. What time frame are we talking about? 2, notification to the other parent and for his or her response. So what type of notification has to be given? Is it notification in writing, like by letter? Maybe it could be denoted that it'd have to be a certified letter, or in some cases maybe email, maybe a phone call or text would suffice. But regardless, any order granting a right of first refusal in Illinois, based on the statute, should talk about how notice is to be given to the other parent. 3, it talks about transportation requirements. So, let's say mom has a kid, but she can't spend time with them, and so it invokes that right of first refusal, and dad wants to get them. Does dad have to come get the kids from mom in that instance, or does mom drop them off at dad's, or do they meet halfway? Regardless, a right of first refusal order should denote that, how the transportation is going to work. And then 4, any other action necessary to protect and promote the best interest of the minor child or children. So, any other orders that would need to be put into effect to effectuate a right of first refusal and make it specific and enforceable, that would be put in an order as well. So again, this is the Illinois statute. It's now the law in Illinois, and it was as of January 14th, 2014. I think proponents of this law would say it's a good thing in that, what it does is it helps ensure that, the parents have the first opportunity to be with their kids, and versus other third parties out there, versus the kids going to babysitters or grandparents or aunts and uncles, this gives the parents the first opportunity. And so a lot of people herald this law and say it's a fantastic thing in that regard. And I think the non-custodial parents out there, they like this law as well, because, if you're a dad, for example, or even a mom, and let's say you're not the custodial parent, but let's say you just have every other weekend, and then maybe a little extra time in the holidays in the summer, a clause like this can be a good thing, and it can result in the non-custodial parent having a lot more opportunities to see their kids than they would if there was no right of first refusal clause. So I think in that regard, a lot of people are going to like this law. They're going to think it's a fantastic thing. Now, on the flip end, some people would say, and I think correctly in some instances, that the right of first refusal clause can turn ugly and that the parties oftentimes argue over it. And so let's say you have a 4-hour or let's say a 6-hour right of first refusal. Some instances, there'll be big debates and big arguments over the time frame. And so maybe, mom thinks she's only going to be away for, 2 hours ends up being 4 hours, and she doesn't offer the kids to the other parent, then what do you got? I mean, theoretically, then you have a big fight and a big argument, and in some instances, I mean, that is totally the case and totally true, and for that reason, a lot of times, courts can be reluctant with rights of first refusal because, I mean, the argument is that it can result in more fighting in some instances, so that is definitely true. Two, critique of this law might be that it doesn't require judges to do it. It just gives them the ability to do it. So a lot of critics of the law would state, while the law has some good components to it, by giving the judge the discretion to do it, judges can very easily under this statute just choose not to do rights of first refusal as well. So it doesn't require them to do that. And then I think third, some people would critique the new law and say, again, it doesn't go far enough in that, in Missouri, there's this presumption of shared custody, which doesn't necessarily mean 50-50 custody, but it does denote that both parents are to have frequent, meaningful contact. And, there are some critics out there that would state, while this right of first refusal statute's a good thing, it doesn't go far enough because in Illinois, the non-custodial parent still, in a lot of instances, ends up with custody orders that are along the lines of every other weekend, maybe a little time during the week, and some holiday and summertime, but not frequent, meaningful contact in terms of how things work in states where shared custody is a presumption. So a lot of people would say this does not go far enough, even though it's a right or a move in the right direction. So in any regard, I thought this statute was really interesting. For our listeners out there in Illinois, I wanted to make sure they knew about this statute. For non-custodial parents, I think as a whole this is a positive move, and I think non-custodial parents will like this statute because it gives them the opportunity, theoretically, to get more time with their kids. And so, it's definitely something to think about, definitely something to consider in terms of a custody case is potentially pursuing a right of first refusal since Illinois allows it by statute now. Again, if you want to get more information on this topic, you can do two things, which is go to our webpage, StangeLawFirm.com, click the Articles tab, and then you can read the article titled New Illinois Law Allows Judges to Order a Right of First Refusal for Parents Who Share Joint Custody. So you can read that. And then you can read the statute itself, as I say, by simply Googling 750 ILCS 5/602.3. And if you do that, you're going to find a link to the statute itself, and you can actually read it. So very interesting topic. Hope the listeners have enjoyed it. I want to thank everybody for tuning in with Family Law Talk with Stange Law Firm today. Stay tuned for our next exciting episode coming up soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening to Family Law Talk with Kirk Stange. Visit StangeLawFirm.com for more about today's topic or to put Stange Law Firm to work for your family today.
Capture life's moments like never before with Rockbrook Camera, Nebraska and Western Iowa's premier camera store since 1975. Rockbrook Camera is not just about selling you a camera. It's about helping you become a real photographer, recording your life and sharing it with others. Today's cameras are faster, easier to use, capable of shooting stunning video, and with film photography making a comeback, there's never been a better time to dive into the world of photography. Rockbrook Camera goes as fast or as slow as you want to go. You can try before you buy with camera rentals, or give that older generation camera in the used department a whole new journey. Find Rockbrook Camera, 1 block south of 168th and West Center in Omaha, 70th and Pioneers in Lincoln, and at rockbrookcamera.com. That's rockbrookcamera.com. Discover or rediscover your love of photography today at Rockbrook Camera. Great photography begins here.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. That should brighten your day a little. Actually, a lot. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.